For the first time since the children vanished, investigators are bringing in specially trained human remains detection dogs to search the land around the Sullivan home, a sign the police are widening the tools they'll use to try to solve what has become one of Nova Scotia's most baffling missing children cases. If you follow this story, please subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss future updates. Every new lead matters and we'll keep tracking them closely. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police announced this development in a short news release. Members of the RCMP Police Dog Service's Human Remains Detection Team will be conducting searches as part of the ongoing probe into the disappearance of 6-year-old Lily Sullivan and 4-year-old Jack Sullivan. The children were reported missing by their mother in the morning of May 2nd, and despite months of searching and a steady stream of tips, their whereabouts remain unknown. This is the first time Cadaver Dogs, dogs trained and certified to detect the scent of human decomposition, have been formally deployed in the investigation. The decision marks a new phase in the search strategy and reflects investigators' need to re-examine areas that may have been missed, or to apply detection methods that weren't used earlier in the summer. RCMP spokespeople have been careful to stress that the move does not mean there is definitive evidence the children are deceased. Rather, it shows investigators are keeping all investigative avenues open and using every available resource. Handlers and dogs coming from across the country are being called in despite operational limitations. There are only 6 to 8 of these specialized dogs in RCMP service nationally, and the only one currently stationed on the East Coast is linked to Prince Edward Island, where the handler has been temporarily unavailable for medical reasons. The new search team will include veteran handlers and their canine partners. Among those named by the RCMP are Sergeant Dave Whalen and his dog Kit, and Insp. Luke Reddy with his dog Narc. Both handlers bring experience in locating buried, burnt, and water-submerged human remains, capabilities investigators say could prove crucial given the dense terrain and the passage of time since May. Handlers who work with these dogs say the animals are remarkably sensitive. In interviews, handlers described how cadaver dogs can pick up trace scents from disturbed soil, from burned debris, and even from dirty dirt, soil that has been in contact with decomposition. On training exercises in other jurisdictions, these dogs have detected remains buried under significant depths of soil and even located evidence from bones that had been in contact with dirt placed in unusual locations. Trainers stress, however, that scent detection depends on many things: weather conditions, soil type, recent disturbance, and how much time has passed. Summers that are hot and dry can degrade scent, while moist, cooler soils sometimes preserve scent longer. That variability is one reason investigators say a fresh search with specialized teams is warranted now. More than just the dogs will be deployed. The RCMP's statement reminded the public of the scale of prior efforts. In the days after the missing person report, search and rescue volunteers and police scoured roughly 8.5 square kilometers of dense woodland and marsh around the Lansdowne Station trailer where the family lived. Helicopters, drones, K-9 units, and teams on the ground covered trails, culverts, wells, and other obvious hiding places. Volunteers and trained searchers have worked for weeks, sometimes in wet and foggy conditions, and community members have remained engaged. Yet the searches turned up only limited physical clues. A piece or pieces of a pink blanket confirmed by family members to have belonged to Lily, and the impression of a child-sized boot print on a pipeline trail. Court documents and warrant filings made public earlier this summer revealed the degree to which investigators have methodically worked to verify timelines and leads. Police obtained GPS and cell phone data, bank transaction records, toll booth and highway camera footage, and video from hundreds of private cameras within an 8-kilometer radius. They took statements from family members and conducted multiple polygraph examinations with people who were close to the children. Those polygraphs, administered in mid-May and later, reportedly yielded findings of truthful responses for several family members, including both parents and the children's biological father. Still, the RCMP has said repeatedly it has not closed any investigative avenue. The presence of specialized human remains detection teams does not imply investigators suddenly believe the worst. RCMP officials have been explicit that they have no definitive information that the children are deceased. At the same time, they say a careful, exhaustive approach requires checking all possibilities. Given the dense understory, fallen trees and complex terrain in the search area, the RCMP itself has acknowledged that earlier searches may have missed spots where scent might now be detected with a fresh, methodical sweep from proven specialists. Handlers emphasize practicality. Cadaver dogs are another piece of the toolkit that can point searchers to areas requiring forensic excavation or detailed attention. For example, a dog indicating on a particular patch of ground could lead investigators to dig test pits, to sample soil for chemical or biological markers tied to decomposition, or to examine burn sites. In other high-profile missing person investigations, dog alerts have led to targeted searches that uncovered critical evidence. Conversely, dogs need corroboration from physical forensics to make a case. Nor are dogs infallible. Scent can be misleading, and false positives occasionally occur when dogs react to non-human decomposition or environmental contaminants. Investigators say they will use the dogs carefully and in a coordinated way. They will pair canine alerts with geolocation, historical imagery, and previously collected footage to prioritize areas for on-the-ground forensic teams. For members of the community who have volunteered in earlier searches, the arrival of cadaver dogs offers a measure of renewed momentum, and, for some, fresh worry. The RCMP is asking for patience and cooperation while these teams work. They will likely re-enter areas that residents thought had been finished, and searchers may request private access to properties or trail cam footage that was not previously available. The broader investigation, meanwhile, continues on multiple fronts. For months, police have been trawling thousands of hours of video, following up on hundreds of public tips and interviewing dozens of people who had contact with the family. Investigators examined evidence found near the home: the pink blanket recovered in the woods, a separate piece of the blanket found in a garbage bag at the end of the driveway, and a child-sized boot print cast from a pipeline trail. A cadaver dog was previously used near the blanket location but was unable to pick up a scent. That result is part of why handlers and investigators are now returning with different canine teams and perhaps different search conditions. The public cordoned off much of the details surrounding the family's final days. Security footage confirmed the children's last known public sighting the day before they vanished, at a local store. One witness later told police she had seen two children walking along the road the morning of the disappearance toward a parked tan or gold sedan where a woman stood. That account remains under active review as investigators check highway cameras and toll records to rule out whether the children left the province. Earlier this summer, police sought video from the Cobequid Pass toll plaza and other highway locations to trace movements during the key time window. Family members have participated in the investigation and have undergone questioning and polygraph testing. The RCMP has publicly disclosed that several family members, including the children's stepfather, mother, the biological father and the children's step-grandmother, took polygraphs. In most cases, the results were reported as truthful or were inconclusive due to physiological factors. Those results, while significant to investigators, are only one part of a wider evidentiary puzzle. Community response has been intense since the missing person report was filed. Volunteers continue to lead searches, vigils have been held, and fundraising and awareness efforts have spread far beyond Pictou County. At the same time, an international wave of social media interest has produced speculation, misinformation, and even harassment of family members, prompting police to urge the public to verify information with official sources and to avoid spreading unconfirmed theories. The RCMP has emphasized that tips, even small or seemingly trivial details, can be crucial. They have repeatedly asked anyone with information to contact the Northeast Nova Scotia Major Crime Unit. What comes next could hinge on the results of the canine searches and any forensic evidence that emerges from areas the dogs indicate. If the dogs locate scent consistent with human remains or decomposition, that will prompt targeted excavation, laboratory analysis, and a search for related physical evidence. If the dogs indicate no scent, investigators may still re-examine timelines, re-review the mountain of digital data already collected, and continue following leads from public tips. Either way, the RCMP says the investigation remains active and that it is using every resource at its disposal. For families and neighbors, the arrival of cadaver dogs has stirred both hope and dread. Hope, because the search is being renewed with advanced tools that might detect what earlier teams missed. Dread, because the use of human remains detection teams raises the possibility investigators are now more seriously considering that the children could be deceased. Police spokespeople have tried to walk that fine line publicly. They reiterate they have no definitive evidence of death but that their duty requires exploring the full range of possibilities. The Sullivan case has already underscored how complex missing person investigations can be. Timelines blur, witness memories differ, and the natural environment can erase or conceal evidence. That is why investigators say methodical, patient work is essential. The use of cadaver dogs is not a headline moment. It is an intensive, technical step taken when other avenues need reinforcement. As the search resumes in new form, the community and the wider public are reminded of the case's human dimensions. 2 children remain missing. Parents, grandparents, and neighbors are exhausted by months of waiting. Anyone with information, no matter how small it seems, is urged to contact police. Rumors and speculation online will not replace verifiable evidence. If you have footage from May 1st to 3rd, trail cam images, dash cam video, or recollections of anything unusual in the Lansdowne Station area during that time, please reach out to the RCMP tip line. This investigation is far from over. The arrival of the human remains detection teams brings a new, serious tool to the search effort. Whether it leads to the answers a grieving family and community seek remains to be seen. For now, the focus remains on careful, evidence-based work, and on the hope that any credible lead will finally point the way to Lily and Jack.